Hey y'all, it's Ubi Genevieve, laced in space, constellations on LSD. Thanks for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else and you decided to be here with me. So I always want to show gratitude, always want to show appreciation, always want to let my peoples know that I'm glad that you're rocking out here with me. Thank you for the sessions. Thank you for the confirmations. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you so much for changing my life. Each and every one of you have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So guys, welcome to Sagittarius season. So all things Sag. Now I have 2 children with Sagittarius risings. I'm a Sagittarius Mercury, so Mercury in Sagittarius. And I've also been a progressed Sagittarius sun since I was 2 years old. So Sagittarius energy is a space that is really connected to me. And I have a real soft spot for it. So I'm going to really like this video. I had fun doing it. Now Sagittarius is a very important constellation because the Milky Way resides in the Sagittarius constellation. So the galactic center is at 27 degrees Sagittarius. In tropical and in Vedic astrology, it's at 6 degrees Sagittarius. And since Sagittarius is also associated with Jupiter, Jupiter is also a very important planet in our solar system. It has the most natural satellites, so it has the most moons. And it's also called the failed star in comparison to the sun, since it didn't have the same elements as the sun. So it's like a mini sun, a micro god. And it didn't have the capacity of hydrogen and helium, so that's why it didn't have the elements of the sun. So just give you a little bit, tad bit of that. But it's called the failed star. Now it's a larger than life energy. It's a world traveler. It's bilingual. It has the capacity to be in many different cultures, be very open-minded if it chooses to. Now Sagittarius must also be conscious of how they can be a little clumsy. They're connected to the mutable placements. So they're here to be more adaptable, more changeable, and more open-minded. So they have to be very conscious of where they can find themselves in spaces where they're a little rigid and they're forced to be more fluid. And this could be spaces where they're now clumsy and have to really double back on things to really figure out where I don't know everything and I can't always speak as if I know everything. Now Sagittarius has to also be conscious that their opposition is Gemini. So they can also get a little lost in the translation as well. So rewriting your words, writing out your words, planning out your thoughts is very important for Sagittarius energy. They need planners just as much, even though they're fiery. And since they are wizards, they must find that their gift of gab can get them a lot of opportunities in this lifetime. So if you have Sagittarius placements, try to really invest in your interests, your hobbies, so it can build the partnerships and the environments that bring you more opportunity. And since Gemini is also your opposition, it's important that Sagittarius know that they can get stuck in their head. So getting into spaces of where they can balance out mental health themes, find spaces where they can vent, and just channel and process out their thoughts is important because these placements can easily fall into institutions, fall into vices, habits, if they don't dive into this. So, I got my notes. I gotta make sure everything comes correct. So the first house is how we come off, the first thing people see when we walk in the room, and it's based on how our parents connect and asserted the relationship, asserted the conception. Which Sag on the rising gives you a larger than life energy. Many of those who have Sagittarius placements can be like Amazon-like. These placements can be unique to their leg alignment. So Sagittarius can be known to be bow-legged, knock-kneed, pigeon-toed. And also they share this with Capricorn and Aquarius placements as well, where they can be known to be tall, especially in women. Even athletic as well. This is a very athletic placement. And many times if they don't dive into more adventurous or athletic themes in their life, they can find that they become depressed, overwhelmed, anxious. So this placement is in a lot of athletes. And not only just Sagittarius, Mercury, Jupiter placements and aspects as well, you'll find in athletes. Now these placements are also known to conceiving young Sagittarius, young love, teen love, while in school love. They're even known to meet partners in this way. Young love, teen love, while in school love. So these placements can feel early on that they come into parenthood in ways where they're still children themselves or still trying to figure out their way. Many times when these placements are evolved, they can opt out of kids and still try to figure out their own mental habits and their own life processes before bringing a child into that. Since these placements can be known to be travelers, very still trying to figure out depths in relationships where they can find a lot of fickleness in these spaces. and even come from families themselves that have abandoned them or live long distance or not always in their proximity growing up. Now, they are supervisors of the family, the eyes and ears of the family as well. And having a Sag rising, you may feel that way, that you always have to find the words, fill in the blanks. These are even placements when they're evolved, the first to graduate, the first to move out, the first to travel the country with having this rising. Now, with Cap in their second house, they need to find some discipline in finances. There could be indulgence with resources where there's no discipline, and life wants to find more of a practical energy for them, especially in long-term thinking. If not, then these individuals can feel fear of having resources or fear of having delay or actually having delays in resources. This is also humbles the gambler in their life, the gambling energy, because Sagittarius can be known to be gamblers and just be excessive and wanting to have a good time. With Aquarius in the third house, these individuals are known to live with extended families young, not always necessarily living with their parents, and are even known to be in, just like with Scorpio, blended families, step-parent themes as well, or having to come into surrogate parental figures. They're actually notorious placements to even be closer to an aunt and uncle, cousins, rather than their own immediate parents. And since this is this is a development house, the third house, and opposites here, it's just important that when you have Sagittarius children, that you show them that they can be interested in more than one thing, putting them in camps, putting them in after-school programs, letting them know that they don't have to stay stuck on one process, one life theme. Because if not, when they get older, they can feel like they're stuck in their childhood dreams, childhood gifts, and now feel stagnant or just flowing through life when they're older, especially since they're naturally jack of all trades energy to begin with. So when I see Sagittarius and Gemini children, try to help them find 3 hobbies. So when one doesn't work out, they fall back on another one. With Pisces in the 4th house, there's a huge possibility of having a parent live outside of the home. Sagittarius placements can even be known to living long distance from a parent, being abandoned by a parent, or just coming into spaces where this parent has to figure out how to fit the child into their life, since it could be young love, teen love, while in school love, or very spontaneous surprise baby. Now, since Pisces is here, Sagittarius energy can be known to feel displaced a lot in their life, moving around, not too sure where they're staying or where they're going within this energy. So it's also very important with Pisces being here that Sagittarius opens up, it's okay to change my mind. And it's more important to live in the moment and see what I'm here to learn, who I'm here to meet. And that's why this placement can be tricky with wanting to build family or how to really be available to their children and vice versa. Now, the Pisces also being here, it's important that Sagittarius also works with making sure that their home stays orderly. Family meetings are important. Spaces where I know growing up, I got lost in translation with a certain parent. So I don't want to get lost in translation with my children within my home as well. Now, Aries in the 5th house shows a strong sense of needing to defend themselves. Sagittarius can be known to that. Fighters, baby. Very defensive in their words. They use their words to weaponize, to fight, to gain. There's a strong sense here with Aries being in the 5th house. These dominants must also be cautious of how being overly mentally defensive, verbally defensive can throw people off and make them question their partnerships, question their connections. So this energy must find balance between feeling mentally autonomous and also feeling mentally cooperative, and not let those lines blur so easily. There's also a very adventurous side to Sagittarius, from streetcar racing to mountain climbing to gun ranges. Sagittarius might really be into this. Spaces that give them a thrill, almost a thrill that's close to danger within this placement as well. Now with Taurus in the 6th house, these dominant symptoms, be conscious of not always falling into the need of having a good time. I need to have a good time. There could be indulgence in this energy where their spending habits can get out of hand, or they don't know where the money went. They don't know where their foundation, their base went. That's why these placements have to be cautious. In the 6th house, asks you about your habits, your routines. And Taurus being here can make you an escapist. So Sagittarius has to be careful of vices, drugs, alcohol, like having an alcoholic issue. Just spaces where I need to get away every day. Being cautious of that and how that can become a big tab for you. Or how it can put you into spaces where you squander your funds. You put yourself in a theme of, I need to do bigger, have more, do more to gain more. In Squid Games, the main character is a Sagittarius. Remember, he had that whole theme going on with money and this gambling and just more and more and more. His real birthday is Sagittarius. Research that. Google it. Gemini in the 7th. Sag many times can end up and start families, like we spoke before, in childhood love, young love, meeting this person in spaces of friendships, through friends, through siblings. There has to be a mental familiarness with this person for Sagittarius to really dive into that. That's even how they stray, Sagittarius energy. When they feel like the miscommunication, I can't really match mind with you, I'll go find someone else. And when you're more younger, that's important for you. Being best friends, mentally connecting, talking every day, stimulating each other every day. Well, Sagittarius needs that. Remember, they're connected to Jupiter, who was the philanderer in mythology. He always needed something to mentally stimulate him. He was easily distracted. Sagittarius needs that energy within their partner, someone they could gift of gab with, chatter with, share ideas with. I need to just be my person journal within those spaces. Now, Sagittarius must also be conscious of how they can attract very fickle, short-lived relationships, or just fickle relationships. That's why that communication needs to be strong. Because Sagittarius, people who date Sagittarius or Sagittarius placements, they can meet people that it's double-sided, double-minded. I didn't even know this person. I thought I knew this person. Now I don't even know this person. That's why it's very important when we were talking about the Piscean energy earlier in the 4th house, that there's family meetings, that there's an early awareness of where we can get things lost in translation. It's really, really important when you have Sagittarius placements. And these placements are often to stray, feel double-minded in their relationships. So Sagittarius, really ask yourself in that. Is this the person I want, or is this the person that's just stimulating me right now mentally? Because that's where the fickleness can come from. Cancer in 8th house. Cancer in 8th house shows a deep family wound, because the moon is connected to Cancer, and then we're moving to the 8th house. And needing to purge things, let things go, or really like certain things will just always be heavy, intense. Sagittarius placements on all, let it be the moon, the sun, the rising, can just feel this way when it comes to family. No matter how much I try, no matter how much I try to talk to you and find balance and grounding, we just always get things lost in translation. Feeling overwhelmed in parenthood could also be very common with Sagittarius risings. They can feel that their identity is compromised, especially since these placements can feel like I've always been the eyes and ears, maybe even taking care of people, or always in a position of being a martyr and having to be aware of what other people need of me, need me to service them in. So like this placement can feel like they were abandoned or not always heard by a child. They could become the same type of parents. So that's why it's very important that these placements understand where the need for freedom may not always coincide with wanting to build a family, a foundation, something more traditional. That's why many times these placements can feel like they have children or create more of these connections spontaneously in moments where they didn't even think this could happen, or I'm just trying this out. You never know. Because there's already this energy showing karmically with Cancer being in the 8th house. Just early upbringing where we didn't even get raised by our actual parents. Maybe more of the world raised us, or we felt like we had to learn a lot of these themes through our own experiences. We had to raise ourselves. And you'll find that with a lot of Sagittarius energy. And what even starts them early on in their own journey of learning to live alone. Now, Leo in the 9th house. When traveling and seeing the world, these dominants are the happiest. They find a lot of their identities on these travels, changing environment, changing stomping grounds. They have high probability of being bilingual, diving into other cultures, wanting to try different foods, or just being put in positions where they realize my language, my culture is just not the only one. That starts to pick up from Sag and up. The energy of more inclusion. Especially since Sagittarius can be known to take big travels over water, overseas in their lives, where they're forced to incorporate more inclusion. Now, since Leo is also here, a big creative space for Sagittarius is some sort of public speaking, writing, letting my thoughts, my ideas, my perspective become art. Sagittariuses are really good at that. And also being able to seek out artists. Find artists who need to find more of that admin work, the marketing work, the ability to take their ideas and thoughts and make it more of an art themselves. Sagittariuses are good at that. That's why they're great coaches, mentors. Virgo in the 10th house. These dominants have to be aware of their strong inner criticism. Because it's going to make them feel hypocritical in their lives. How can I tell you to do better and to ease yourself and to live larger than life when I don't? When I can be quite frugal, have inner criticisms, be really anxious, uncomfortable, mentally combative myself. As cool and calm as these dominants can be, worrying about the future and their future selves is just always on their mind. They do well in helping others get past criticisms and administrative work and counseling work, and have a keen eye for detail only if they're interested in fixing that issue. But they must first work on their own inner criticisms to even show the life that they're trying to speak into others. It's very important, Sagittarius, since they rule the legs, to walk it like they talk it. Libra in the 11th. These dominants can make friends out of nowhere. They are friend magnets, association, acquaintance magnets. People feel like they can easily have small talk with them. The only thing with this type of placement is they might question the longevity of these friendships and the sincerity of these friendships. They have to be more discerning and aware of their associations so it also doesn't lead them down the wrong path, since they also are mentally sensitive. So Sagittarius can be known to letting peer pressure get to them. Group thought get to them. Remember, they grow up in households where they're more talked at than talked with. So it's very important that Sagittarius knows that, yes, I can meet friends. I can open that up, just like Gemini. But what is the longevity of these friends? How do they really get me to and not even trying to sound opportunistic, but Sagittarius, since they're so mentally sensitive, all mutables, they don't want to mesh with people that now starts to make them feel spiritually attacked, mentally attacked, spiritually sick, mentally sick. So that's a big theme for Sagittarius in their life. I got people to laugh with, party with, have a good time with, but who can I really call when I'm down, when I'm sad, or when I really need real, strong, genuine partnership? Very important for Sag. Scorpio in the 12th. The Scorpio in the house of subconscious. A guru still needs to trust their studies. While they can have a love of the occult and the deeper truths, they must find that balance between negative and positive thinking to really encompass these learnings. If not, they'll just fall back into that hypocritical nature again, where we're talking that good stuff, but not living that good stuff. Also, with this house being the house of undoing and Scorpio being here, we go back to the 6th house. Not blocking where we feel this anxiousness with vices. Sagittarius can fall into that. And since Scorpio is here, they can fall into these types of patterns after relationships, strong, like huge financial losses, just spaces where I don't have enough to give. I don't have enough because of how I've given, how I've shared myself. So now I must succumb to these thoughts. That could be one of the biggest contradictions of Sag. The larger than life, the party goer, the comedian, while deep inside having very platonic and heavy troubling thoughts with this placement. And while being fire, they're going to keep that love and light energy going on. But with Scorpio being in the 12th house, it could be something that really just casts over the guilt, the grudges, the shame that could lie underneath these dominants. Remember, Sagittarius is close to Scorpio. And Scorpio being the sign that comes before them means that they had to go through this dark of the night to get to this sun, to get to this truth, this fire, to get to this truth. But if they never get past those crossroads, these can be really projector type of individuals, where they project an image rather than are that image. Gemini, the trickster. So having to live what we learn, integrate what we read, our experiences is important for Sag. If not, these individuals can find that they are falling into spaces that make them come off as liars, mistrustful, hypocritical, not only to others, but to themselves. And with that Gemini opposition, they really want that connection, especially that mental connection. So Sag, happy birthday. Hope this video helps you understand more of your energy. And thank you so, so much to each and every one of you. See y'all on the other side. Genevieve.